getting? Guide energy is start your online business so that you can actually attain that work-life balance that you deeply want, so that you can spend more time making memories with your kids instead of like pumping at a workstation, staring at a photo of your baby, wishing that you could be there instead. And I can point you to the resources to help you get there. I can help you create your own story that matters. The guide makes it all about them. The hero makes it all about me. And nobody wants a hero. But it's so interesting because that's what we think we need to be, and we don't. Here's the thing, the hero feels like they need to be the expert, right? But if you wait to be the expert to start growing your team, you will never start. Expertise is only built by experience, not by research, not by attending trainings, not by watching, not by reading a book. Expertise does not happen in a book. It happens through lived out experience. And you will notice as you get more experienced as a guide, the more experience you get, you will start to attract a higher caliber hero who will want to go with you, right? As you elevate your skills, so you will also elevate the quality of person that wants to work with you, right? So it's hot tip 1, drop the hero act. Hot tip number 2, we have got to stop the fluffy talk. Real talk, real leads. This is all about how your wording and your messaging has been attracting maybe the wrong type of person. And if you want to attract a different person, we got to change how you talk. I want you to kind of see it as kind of like a dating profile. Like how you talk about yourself is probably going to attract a certain type of person that wants to interact with you. So if you're like, well, I'm a total homebody, don't like anybody, I like cooking at home, hate restaurants, don't want those things, you're probably going to attract somebody who's very introverted that's like, okay, well, I'm not a homebody either. We could just talk about books. Like, notice how like attracts like in that moment. So we actually have to, if you aren't happy with the people that are coming into your business, you actually have to evaluate, well, what's my marketing doing? How did my marketing attract this type of person into this business? We lose effective marketing when we sell to anyone with a pulse. That leads to ineffective, generalized, vague marketing. Join my team, financial freedom, time freedom, earn a trip, earn a car, make money at home. Boo, I'm bored. I don't want to join you. Like, tell me why it's a good fit for me. Tell me how this thing is going to affect this one area of my life, right? But selling to anyone with a pulse, that's very, 2012 to 2015 network marketing and social selling. It was like, well, everybody has shampoo, sell to anybody with a head of hair. Oh, anybody has a gut, sell your gut health products to everybody with a gut. But here's the thing, not everybody resonates with you. But if you're trying to talk to everybody with a gut, it's like, oh, snooze, boring. Your marketing becomes very generalized, very vanilla. There's nothing exciting about it. No one's like, oh, she's talking to me. It's like, oh, boo, boring. It's like a Pepto-Bismol commercial. It's like, do you struggle with these symptoms? And it's like, yeah, I guess. I mean, oh, I'm excited. No, we have to stop that. Okay, so we have to use concise language and specific language if we want to bring in a specific type of person. So I'm going to talk about language that you might be using that's bringing the wrong people. You ready? Let's go. Okay, hobby language will attract a hobbyist. Hobby language will attract a hobbyist. What is hobby language? You ready? Make some extra money with a little side gig. Your little side gig, your little side thing, that is screaming hobby. That's screaming like, maybe I'll start baking cakes and sell them to my friends. Like, make a little cash on the side. Nothing about this says business. This is very it's just hobby. It's like, oh, maybe just make some stuff and sell it on Etsy and make a little bit of cash on the side. You're going to get a hobbyist with this, okay? The next language is when you have a seasonal need. When you talk about a seasonal need, you will create a seasonal worker. What do I mean by that? It's coming up. Earn some cash for Christmas. Now, there is a great reason to bring people into this business model where they become acutely aware of like, ooh, I'm short on cash. I actually do want to do these things for Christmas. And maybe this will be the catalyst. But if you are giving them the only reason why they should join this business is to earn Christmas cash, what happens when the gifts are paid for and their Christmas debts are paid off? They're gonna be like, great, I got what I needed. And then here's the problem with that though. You will need to resell them on a more long-term vision. You will have to sell them on why it's worth staying in the new year and why it's worth working. Oh man, a lot of you like February, March, and April when it's crazy school time and everybody's hunkered down. Like, why would they continue to do the hard thing when the reason, their initial why that they signed up for was Christmas cash, and Christmas was 4 months ago, right? Now, there's like I said, there's not a problem with telling people earn some Christmas cash, but you are responsible for making sure they have a much long-term vision beyond Christmas. You have to have that conversation. Okay, so seasonal work, seasonal workers. Right? How much of our language was pandemic language? Being like, well, hey, it's during lockdown. You don't have anything else going on. Come and work a business. Well, no wonder when as soon as they had other things going on, they went and did other things because you marketed to them, hey, as long as you don't have anything else going on, come and work this. And then life happened and they're like, oh yeah, well now I have other things going on. I'm going to do that. They were never sold the long-term vision, right? The next language is if you are somebody in your marketing who demonizes having a job, and you will attract someone who only wants the fun. You're like, you know what the biggest scam is a job. You know what that is I hate working for somebody else, and I hate, just feeling like I'm a slave to somebody else's agenda, and I hate like all these things. Like, but here's the thing. This is the language. Nobody wants a job. Be your own boss instead. You know what? I don't like having to go to work. And then you're attracting people who are like, I don't want to show up to work. I don't want to have to clock in. So these people, they will quit the moment it feels like a job because you didn't sell them a job. You sold them like this fun other thing on the side that's like, no, it's not a job. But you know what? As I'm like breathing in, but you know what? This idea of like a job, I don't care how long you've been in this business model, how much fun you have with it. There will be a day where there will be many days where it will feel like a job, where the last thing you want to do is write a post on social media, where the last thing you want to do is do a song and dance and do a reel, where the last thing you want to do is get on a team call on a Monday night and talk to people, where the last thing, like, welcome, it's a job and you have to clock in, right? But if you're demonizing, like, don't, forget that. Make your own hours. Have flexible hours. But here's the thing. Here's how people hear that. Flexible hours means maybe no hours or maybe some hours. It's like, no. Are you still willing to have business hours? Are you going to clock in like it's a job? If you want to get paid like a job, if you're promising them like, hey, make whatever you made at your 9 to 5, retire this, have another stream of income. If we're going to use the word income, there better be the word work with it. And I don't care what job that is, right? You need to work it like a job. And some of you are like, oh, dang, she's calling me out. These are things I currently think about my job, right? You have got to clock in. I'm just curious, what if you were to put on your calendar a mandatory clock in? What if you knew you had to clock in each day? You got to decide when you clocked in, but your job was to be like, no, you have to clock in at least 2 hours a day. Doesn't matter where those 2 hours are, but you got to put in your 2 hours. I guarantee your result would be different in your business if you actually started having a clock in mentality rather than flexible hours. I'll just do it another day. Like so many people, they just see flexible time, flexible business as just like, oh, maybe an optional business. Flexible and optional are not the same. Next one, if you are marketing fast and easy, you are going to attract entitled and lazy. Entitled because they're going to have one post and be like, where's all my people? I thought I was going to have everybody come running with their cash and throw it at me. And people who are lazy, if you know who looks for easy? Lazy people. I'm going to say it. Anybody who's looking for easy and the fast way out when it comes to making money and having a business is somebody who's lazy. And oftentimes we go into sleazy tactics that don't last. We go by our work dishonestly, right? And so listen, this fast and easy, now simple and effective, that's different than fast and easy. Fast and easy just sounds sleazy, right? So be careful with this, right? Use convenient language and you will attract people who will only work their business when it feels convenient. Let's talk, what does convenient language sound like? Work in the nooks and crannies of your day. And when you have a few minutes or on the side, whatever it is, when you get around to it, my God, I swear, if I see one more nooks and crannies post, I'm going to slap somebody, because I don't know anybody that works effectively and gets things done and is massively productive in nooks and crannies. And I'm talking like 5 minutes here, trying to get a little thing here, answer this here. Do you know what that creates? Is an overstimulated, stressed out, unpresent person who can never be present in the now, because they're trying to capitalize on every moment where they're like, well, maybe now I got to answer this. Maybe I got to do this. Oh, shoot, I got to answer this message right now, because if I don't know when my next time is, I'm going to answer this. But it's amazing how effective your work is going to be when you know, like, okay, I see that message. I see people have those questions. I have my 1 hour slotted during my kids' nap or in the mornings or at this time where I know I'm going to be able to sit down and answer those questions. We're able to calm ourselves and realize, okay, we're able to have boundaries. But the people that work in the nooks and crannies are less productive, more stressed, more scattered, and at the end of the day, they feel like they work all day. That's when you feel like, I feel like I worked all day and I have nothing to show for it, because you were trying to message somebody in between switching out loads of laundry or messaging them between, quick things at work. Just like, I would just encourage you, 30-minute blocks minimum. Like, don't touch it unless you have at least 30 minutes to have focused work, because there's something about psychology where your brain has to get in flow. So by the time you get in flow with the activity, you're already turning it off and you're gone. And so you're losing so much time. I want you to think of like productivity as like warming up an oven, right? And so if you like preheat the oven and you're like, okay, I'm about to sit down and work, like you get the oven to temperature and then you're like, oh crap, now time to go. And then you turn off the oven, right? You're never able during the day to actually fully get into momentum, because you're never capitalizing on it, because you're not giving productive, focused time, right? So let's stop talking about nooks and crannies, because by the way, you're going to only attract people who are like, well, I'm going to try and do it in between nap, and I never got to it, and I'm just so busy and I'm so scattered, because these people are like, well, I don't have any extra time. I don't want to do this. And then those are going to be the ones who come to you and say, I'm really tired, I'm really burnt out, and I feel like I'm working so hard and I have nothing to show for it. Well, in their mind, they feel like they're working so hard because they're constantly trying to turn up the oven. They're never actually working it long enough to actually get results, but they feel like they're on all day long and then they quit. This is why. Next one. Cutesy language will bite you in the butt every time, right? If you use cutesy language, you're going to have people that think it's a cutesy business. So let's do this. I see this one all the time. Let's stop saying it. It's cutesy. I see where you're going with it. We think it's clever marketing. Here's why it's not. Monetize your scroll. Stop. You know why I don't like monetize your scroll? Because scrolling is a passive activity. It's what people do to numb out, check out, decompress, relax. Nobody views scrolling as work. Scrolling is what I do to not work. Scrolling is what I do to check out of my reality and just it's to laugh and to feel good, right? Nothing about working a business is to check out, numb out, and feel good. No, a business, like, I have to focus, I have to go on, and I have to work, and I have to deny myself, wanting to check out and do other things instead. So We have to stop talking about scrolling. You want to market to creators, people who are actually online creating content, talking about their favorite recipes. Like believe it or not, there are people out there that are making content just because they enjoy making content. They see it as a hobby. They're like, "Oh, this is kind of fun. I like this thing, and I like talking about my recipes, and maybe I have this little blog, and it'd be nice if I made some money." They are ideal because they already have the ingrained habit of creating content. But if you market to creators, you're going to get creators. You market to scrollers, you're going to get scrollers. If you're like, "Oh, monetize my scroll," then you're going to have the people that are like, who are scrollers. People who never create, never engage, never connect, never comment, don't use social media as a creative tool. They use it as like a consumption tool. And so scrollers, they don't roll in cash. They don't. Scrollers, by nature, it's just a very passive activity. Now, I'm not knocking scrolling. I scroll, but I never do it in my business time, and I never see it as an income-producing activity, ever. Like, ever. Even real research, nope, I won't do real research during my business hours. Like, in my scrolling, I'm like, oh, if I like that audio, if I have an idea, I'll just park it, but never use that in my business time. Next one, right? Realistic timelines create realistic expectations. You have to be realistic about the expectation. Don't take that one unicorn story in your company that's like, Sarah came to this company and went from 0 to, 6 figures in less than 9 months. Well, Sarah might have a certain set of circumstances that is completely unique to Sarah. If Sarah's like been content creating for years, has really great referral cred, like street cred with her people, if she is always creating content, she is well networked, and she's great at marketing, like, yeah, Sarah has an advantage to grow faster than the average person who's maybe been scrolling or maybe posts once a week. We have to match realistic timelines and realistic expectations. But so many people come to this business and because they think they're promised the pie in the sky. And when they don't get the rewards and their reality doesn't meet expectations, they quit, and then they say, oh, this business model didn't work for me. It's like, no, that's not true. You have to work this business model, and maybe we just didn't set you up with the right expectations, right? You have to sell this business for what it is. Be honest. Be clear. I'm telling you, you guys, if you are honest and clear and compelling about this business model and what it takes and why it's good and why it's still worth doing and why you can still work a business while also living a busy life, you're going to attract a completely different type of person. You're going to be like, I didn't even realize I could attract these people, but it does happen. Sell it for what it is. Here's another way of saying it. You're in sales. Let's stop saying, no. It's not selling. It's sharing. It's referring. You're selling. I don't know where that F came from, but you're selling, right? I call BS. Anybody who tells you this isn't a sales business, it's not true. You are in selling. But I think a lot of times we do that to like get rid of any ick factor people feel around selling. And then we lie to them. We say, no, it's not selling. It's sharing. It's referring. No, selling is all about offering people a solution to their problems. You are selling. So maybe if we just own it for what it is and we're totally unapologetic about it, instead of like rewording it all the time, we're like, yeah, it's selling. And you know what? I thought I would hate it. I thought it would feel icky, but I actually really love offering people solutions to to problems that they're having or helping them feel better. And I really love bettering someone's life because that's selling. I really love it. I thought I'd have a nick, but it's actually pretty fantastic. When you understand selling is serving people, it's pretty great. Notice how we're completely changing the conversation instead of me going on the defense or trying to like reframe it and be like, oh, no, it's not selling. It's fine. No, it's just sharing. It's just referring. But here's the thing, to that person, when they go out and try it for the first time, they're not going to hear your voice saying, it's selling, it's sharing, it's referring. They're going to be thinking, oh, this is selling, this is selling. And they're not going to be able to do any of it because they think selling is wrong instead of you having the conversation of like, here's why selling is great. And here's why selling is so powerful, right? So when you call it like it is, you are going to attract people who will not be surprised by what it takes to make money online. You're going to have way less shakeout at the bottom, because what's the thing is you're going to repel the wrong people before they even come into your funnel. You're not going to have to waste time convincing people that this business is actually worth it, because you've done it in your marketing. Marketing is front end vetting. It's making sure you're qualifying the right people through your marketing. The goal of marketing is to actually create polarity. And some of you like the idea of polarizing, which means you have to have people that agree with you and people that disagree with you. But so many of you are so terrified of having one single person disagree with you. They're just like, I just want everybody to get along, and I want everybody to like me, and I want everybody to play nice. That leads to boring vanilla marketing, because you're just trying to people please everyone, and you're not just owning who you are, owning what you do, and just saying, this is it and this is great, right? Polarity is about attracting the right people, calling them in, and repelling the wrong people. Push out the people who are lazy, entitled, the whiners, the complainers, the hobbyists, the victims, the wishy-washies, the people that are like, yeah, I want to make $1 million, but I don't want to do anything. The people that are perpetually just complaining about everything around them. You want your content to be disgusting to them, where they're like, ew, I don't like that. I like complaining about my life instead. Great, perfect. Your content just did its job. But here's the problem. Here's why people are unwilling to push away the wrong people. Push away and say, you know what? I actually don't think this business is the best thing for you. I actually think you'd be a really great customer. And if you happen to connect with some people, and here's this referral link, like some people are better customers with referral links, and some people are meant to be business builders. There's a difference between a referral partner, somebody who's just good for passive referrals and like, hey, I happen to have this. Here you go. Here's a referral link. And somebody that's like, all right, clocking in today. I'm ready to make a difference in the world. I'm ready to talk to people. I'm ready to network, and I'm ready to make an income online. Two different people, two different types of language. And you have to be willing to, instead of convincing this person that they should be a business owner, is honoring them where they are and helping capitalize them as the best customer or with their referrals, right? But here's the thing. It's impossible to do that when scarcity is in the driver's seat. When your brain is constantly being like, but in order to hit my company incentive this week, this month I have to have 3 new brand partners. And then you just end up signing up the worst people so that you can hit the incentive, because you're, again, more concerned with the short-term goal instead of the long-term goal, right? But I will say, if you're in a lot of conversations with a lot of people, you're always trusting that people are coming. But where we get scarce is when we're not in conversations with a lot of people, and that one person comes along that's like, hey, I think I want to talk about this business. And you're like, oh my gosh. And you're like, I can't lose this sale. I can't lose this sale, right? And then we become very attached. We become very scarce. And then we end up moving into convincing energy. We're now convincing them on why they should have a business when they never are truly interested. Here's the thing about convincing. If you have to convince them to join, you will also have to convince them to stay. The people you have to convince to try this business model out, like some of them might be like, okay, I saw the light and I eventually I'm all in. But the majority, you're going to have to convince them to stay. And then you feel exhausted by your business all the time, because you realize every person in your organization are people that you convinced to join, and you realize, oh my gosh, I had to convince them in my selling to get them here. And now I'm convincing them to stay all the time. This is exhausting. I didn't want to do this, right? We have to look at the marketing that created this culture. But if you talk to people who are self-led and motivated and disciplined and committed, and they're ready and they want to be business owners, like, you're not going to have to convince them. They're going to be the ones being like, I'm in. When's the next incentive? When's the next thing? I'm all in. Right? So that leads us really nicely into quality over quantity. Now, because this business model has a low cost barrier of entry, a lot of people are going to be coming in. You can even do polarizing content, but you're still going to get those people that come in that are like, yeah, I totally want to do this. And they're a flash in the pan. They work hard for 30 days. And then you're like, they're gone. It's as if they never even was. You're like, what happened to Sarah? I don't know. She's gone. Sorry if your name's Sarah today. You're getting a lot of heat today. But this idea of quality over quantity really going for the quality of individuals, right? And so that is done through prospecting. Now, some of you, like your butthole may have just puckered up and you're like, I hate the word prospecting. I don't even want to prospect. That feels terrible. My camera guy's laughing that I just said that. But it's true. It's like some of you are like, I hate this idea. I don't want to prospect. But prospecting is very simple. It's just this. It's just going through a mental checklist or system that you have to qualify or vet the individual as a good candidate for the business. It really identifying your best people, right? Prospecting is best done by understanding who your ideal A player is, learning to market to them, attract them, and network with them. Now, some of you have this mental picture. I have this mental picture when I think of prospecting, but you might be like, how do I prospect? This sounds creepy and weird. Am I like, I'll never forget when I had an experience in Target and there was a guy like shopping by himself in the kids section. And like, there were so many red flags here. And he's probably in his early 50s. And my husband and I were there like buying Christmas gifts. And he was strolling. And he suddenly came up to us. He's like, oh, I see you. Are you shopping for your children? Oh, is it Christmas shopping? We're like, yeah. And he's like, my daughter-in-law is the top earner of another company. And he was literally prospecting. He started asking us personal questions about our life. And I was just like, and my husband was just like letting him go. And I was like, back away, back away. There's a creeper in aisle 5 in the Barbie section and we must leave. But it was like, but that's how I forever thought of prospecting. But here's what prospecting really is. I want you to sometimes it actually helps to remove our network marketing associations and move into a more corporate association. Sometimes I think it serves us to think a little more corporate wise and being like, if I was in a corporate job, how might I prospect somebody to come and work for my company? What qualifications am I looking for? What skills am I looking for? And this is what I do for our team. Like I have a team of over 25 people, I think. And so we prospect on who our ideal team members are that fit our culture, that buy into the vision. We do this too. And so there's two things when it comes to prospecting. You're looking at two things. You're looking at qualities and you're looking at skills. And I actually think the most important thing you want to actually prospect is the quality of the individual. Somebody who's coachable, hardworking, determined, committed, open-minded, teachable, willing, self-motivated. I would so much rather take the person who has never tried social media a day in their life, but they are coachable, willing, hardworking, determined, and they possess all the qualities, and they're willing to do the work to build the skill. I would so much rather hire for qualities rather than skills. Qualities first, skills second. But oftentimes we tend to overrate the skills and be like, the only thing that matters is like, do they have a social media presence? Like those I would say are cherries on top. Those I would call are income accelerators, right? But qualities tell me like this is a foundation of a good business builder who's probably going to be here for the long run. So what am I looking for? And then with skills, this is again, we're going to call them income accelerators. The more skill you have, the more you can accelerate your income. So social media savvy, are they social media savvy? Or if they do come into my organization, they have all the qualities, are we going to have to do like 90 days of social media training for them? Are they going to have to like learn while we're teaching them how to work with their warm market, I have to teach them social media skills, but hey, they're showing up and they're doing the things, right? Are they a networker? Are they a communicator? Do they have any retail experience? Are they a former teacher? Some teachers do great in this job, right? Well networked. Are they someone that's well known? Are they already a referral person? Are they just known for being someone that's like, oh, you should try this. This is my favorite restaurant. This is my favorite product. Are they already sharing Amazon links? Again, all of these go as like little income accelerators of like, ooh, look at what they have here. But here's the thing. If I see someone on the list that has all of the skills, but none of the qualities, I won't even have a conversation with them because qualities matter. Because qualities for me, it's like, okay, the quality of the person is actually going to determine that they're going to impact my team culture. It's no amount of like making money off of them is worth me dealing with somebody who's not teachable, who's not coachable, who's not willing, who doesn't take accountability for their actions, who isn't honest. Like I will always hire for quality first, skills second. But these are things, this is, again, you're prospecting, you're evaluating, being like, do I see these things in them? Do they talk about these things, right? Do they have some form of following? And by the way, when you end up talking to somebody one-on-one, and they're a good fit for the business, you actually can echo this back to them. You can say, here's what I see in you. This is why a good in-person invite into the business will flatter someone at the highest level when you do prospecting well, because you can say, hey, here's why I was thinking of you. The reason why I thought of you is you have these qualities that I really admire. You are so coachable. I've seen how you interact with the other moms on the team, or how you handle, our team snacks. You're so kind to be around. I enjoy being around you. But I've also noticed you share your Amazon links, you share your favorite recipes, and this is why I would actually really like to help you monetize your social media or monetize online. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in, but if you're open for the conversation, I'd love to hear it. They're not going to be offended because all you did was give them genuine compliments that said, here's all the winning qualities I see about you. The worst case that happens is they say, wow, thank you. Thanks for noticing that in me. Thanks for seeing that in me. And then they say, but I don't think it's a good fit for me and I don't want that. All right, but I just wanted you to know I see those things in you. You never know where that conversation will lie, and that they might come back to you and be like, hey, you know what? Ever since you said that to me, I can't help but keep thinking about it. It's kind of been keeping me up at night. And you never know, the timing, they'll remember that. And then there might be come a timing. There's a need. There's a season where they're like, now is the time. And they will remember that conversation. So this isn't gross, because you're not just going to a stranger that you've never met, read a couple of their posts and been like, hey, I see that you like pizza. I do too. Come and sell kitchenware with me. That's not what we're talking about. This is meaningful prospecting. Okay. So here's the thing. When you have the qualities and the skills, you're going to attract people who tend to mirror your qualities and skills. So I would say the more skilled you get, the higher skilled individual you will attract. So if you're I don't have a social media presence, or you have 500 friends on Instagram, that you're not going to attract somebody with 10,000 followers to come to you. There's reciprocity and mirroring in that way. But as you grow, you're going to earn respect of other people and be like, oh, I see, if you could do it, I can do it, right? And so we tend to mirror who we are, right? You have to ask yourself, do I demonstrate these qualities? What about those qualities that I wrote down do I not possess myself? Because how could I expect anybody to come to my organization when I don't yet demonstrate that? Right? And so if you want to attract a high caliber player, you have to actually become one yourself first. And the better you get, the higher quality leads you will attract. Okay. I got to move fast. Here we go. Tip number 4, remember your ABCs. What is ABCs? Always be connecting, always be conversing. You have got to be social on social media. You've got to just be social in life. I don't care if you're like Kristen, always be connecting, always be conversing. You have got to be social on social media. You've got to just be social in life. I don't care if you're like Kristen, I've thrown away my phone, I hate social media, and I only want to network in person. Okay, do you? It's going to be slower, but I'm then you're going to have to still get out there. You're going to have to be social. You're going to have to go back to 1985 and maybe post a picture of your face on a bus ad. You're going to have to get out there somewhere. You're going to have to have people see you and know you, but you got to be social on social media. Let's get really clear about what being social actually is. It means you're connecting with your followers. You're engaging with their content, their stories, their posts, their lives. You're leaving meaningful content, meaningful comments. You're asking questions in the DM, not pitching. You're not pitching, guys. Being social does not mean being a pitchy Pam in everybody's DMs, right? And so you're creating conversation in your stories. You're asking questions. You're putting up surveys and quizzes and whatever else. You're making regular calls to action. Try this sample. Try this thing. Do this with me. If you're interested in learning more, learn more. You're networking in Facebook groups. You're adding value. You're liking. You're commenting. You're engaging. You got to freaking be social. Some of you are like, I put a post on. Oh, I see some of my friends in my company. I like their stuff. Oh, but it's weird. Everyone in my Facebook feed is either on my team, in my downline, in my company, or they're already in a network marketing business because you haven't done your job to go and engage with and connect with people so that Facebook shows you people that aren't on your team, right? Your feed only shows you who you interact with on a regular basis. So if you only interact with your team, you've created the echo chamber of everybody on your feed as people in your company and your team. What is being social not? Messaging complete strangers about your product, asking strangers to post your product on their wall. Stop it. Stop that. I hate seeing that, right? Because what you're doing is saying like, hey, I want to actually take advantage of your network. And even though we have no trust and I just want to like spam my product on your wall. No. Asking random followers if they want to join your business, chasing people in the DMs, pitching anyone with the pulse, pulling out your high school yearbook and messaging everyone on Facebook. I don't know who would do that. Oh my gosh, I totally did it. I did it back in the day. I'm so embarrassed of that. Okay, being social just ensures more people see your posts and engage with your content. If you aren't social on social media, you can post the most epic business opportunity post, but if you're not engaging and connecting on social media, no one sees the post. The only people that see the post are people in your company and they're like, oh my gosh, great post. And then what's worse is they're like, can I borrow your post? Mind if I copy and paste it? And they're like, and they copy and paste your hard work, caption. And then they go and post it on their own wall with their picture. And you're like, I don't think this did what I wanted it to, right? If you don't have visibility, you don't have buyers. You don't have buyers. That's why you have to be social on social media. Tip number 5, friends, you got to get loud. You get results from what you do consistently, not what you do occasionally, right? So most social sellers hide behind talking about their product. You get results from what you do. Have visibility. You don't have buyers. You don't have buyers. That's why you have to be social on social media. Tip number 5, friends, you got to get loud. You get results from what you do consistently, not what you do occasionally, right? So most social sellers hide behind talking about their product and rarely talk about the business. Show of hands if you're like, I could talk about my product all day. I'd be curious, when was the last time you confidently posted about your business and talked about it? Some of you are like, just yesterday. Great, fantastic, love it. But here's what I notice. I think this is consistent for a lot of social sellers. Like they would deem this as consistent. Posting 3 times a week. That's actually, you have to look at this in a 30-day span. That means only 12 of 30 or 31 days, depending on the month, you're posting. So those are 12 posts a month. And of those 12 posts, you only mention the business once. That means if you only talk about the business once a month, that's 12 times a year you're talking about the business, hoping that the times you do talk about the business, and if you're never socializing with people on social media, that someone randomly is going to come across your feed and feel compelled when you haven't engaged with them or talked with them. No wonder no one's joining. But here's the thing. The average person needs 7 to 20 touches before they take action. Not a decision. I mean, take action. Action might look like commenting. How many of you have thought of that? That they need 7 to 20 touches before they even feel comfortable commenting or liking or saying, info please, or sure, I'll try a sample. We think 7 to 20 touches to close a sale. No, try 100 to close a sale to an individual. So 7 to 20 touches before they take any action. And I put in this little thing, disclaimer on the bottom, that does not mean you send them 20 messages in their DMs. No, right? I like to think of it as exposures, touches or exposures. That's your posts, your stories, your lives, your follow-up, your messages, your emails, all the ways you talk about your business. So this is a problem. Let's look at statistics. So if you only talk about the business 12 times a year, then don't be surprised if you only get 1 recruit a year, if that, right? So what your content does is it creates multiple touch points and multiple exposures. And so no exposures happening if you're not having engagement. You picking up what I'm dropping right now? Okay, I like charts, so I want to show this to you. Here's your probability of success of success based on the number of asks or your posts. So if you only make one ask where you did one business post when you first started and you're like, I started this business, DM me for info, and nobody bought and you got crickets and you're like, I'm never talking about the business ever again. I'm just going to talk about the parties and host and maybe I'll do those things. That's one ask for the year. Once a month, that's only 12 asks for the year. Once a week, that's only 52 asks for the year. 2 times a week, that's 104 asks. 5 times a week, meaning Monday through Friday, 260 asks in the year. Your potential for actually getting recruits grows exponentially by the number of asks. And by the way, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So yeah, your first like 13 posts are going to absolutely suck. But if you're only posting once a month, you're just going to suck all year and probably just suck next year too. In fact, you're probably not going to talk about the business. You're going to be like, I tried last year and nobody came, right? So we're just creating a whole mess for ourselves. So and if you're like, does that mean I ask 5 people a day, 5 days a week? How does this asks happen? Making asks or offers happens everywhere. Your content, your stories, your emails, in conversations, in a party. Like, you have got to ask until you don't even realize you're asking anymore. You're like, oh, I ask all the time. I've even lost count how many times I've asked, right? This has to be a part of business, right? You might be thinking, oh my gosh, my audience is going to think all I'm doing is pitching and selling. No. If you are doing it well, if you're adding a lot of value, if you're sprinkling your asks around all of your other content. But again, if your only one piece of content is making an ask about your business, then yes, of course, they're going to think all you do is talk about your business. But if you're talking about all these other things, they're like, oh yeah, you talk about this, you talk about these things, you add value, you share your recipes, it's awesome. And you sprinkle in asking this too. But no one's paying that close attention to your content where I guarantee some of you are like so uncomfortable by this. You're like, oh my gosh, like that you think someone's like, someone that you know is watching your social media and putting like little hash marks on the wall of like, oh, and that's the 6th time she's talked about her business. One more and I'm following. Nobody cares. They're too busy with their own life. Okay? We're getting close. Stay with me, guys. 7 tips total. We're almost there. Tip number 6, hype is for amateurs. So many of you sell with hype. Oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. Huge incentive right now. Let's go. And like you come with all of your hype and like you're just like confetti cannons and t-shirt cannons and oh my gosh, this is so great. Amateurs sell with hype. Pros sell with value. Pros sell with calm. Pros sell with conviction. You want to know how someone's really good at selling? It's like, you buy from me today? Great. You buy from me tomorrow? Great. You buy from me never? Great. Like, they are unfazed by your buying behavior. They're just like, I am consistent. I am consistent with how I talk about my product, how I talk about my business. But I see so much hype in this business. But here's the thing. What usually follows hype is buyer's remorse. Or someone's like, oh, I bought the product and now I'm really overwhelmed and there's too much product. I'm looking at all the product and I don't know why I did this. Or, oh, you know what? I was really excited about the business, but life got in the way. I just got so busy. Like, remorse, regret, people backing out, like that usually follows the hype, right? And so selling hype, I view it as like pumping a kid full of sugar right before bedtime. It's like, you know, you want the sale, you know, you want it, you know, you want it. So exciting, so excited, so exciting. And they're like, yeah, I want it. They get real excited. They're like a little chihuahua running around. And then here's the thing. What goes up has to come down. And so reality always knocks them out of the game. The moment it's not fun, they get their first no and boom, that hype is gone. And suddenly it's not fun. I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't what I thought it would be. The first no, they quit, right? I just want you to think of every time you're trying to sell with hype. I just want you to think, oh, I'm just like feeding people full of sugar and they're going to crash. Their first no, they're going to be the first person to quit because they were in such an emotional high that they got their first no and they are like, boom, they're down, they're out, they're miserable, they never want to do it, right? So last hot tip is tip number 7, freaking do it anyways. Like, do it despite how you're feeling. Do it despite you're not motivated, do it anyway. You're not committed or you're not feeling it, do it anyways. Your kids are sick, do it anyways, right? You didn't sleep too good last night? Do it anyways. Feels like no one's paying attention to your content? Do it anyways. Like, we don't have this do it anyway mentality. We have it like do it when it feels good mentality, and we wonder why we don't have a paycheck that feels good, right? So you have to be willing to suck at something in order to get good at it. And listen, the faster you're willing to suck at something and just keep trying, you're inevitably going to be good at it, right? So my thing is, stop thinking and do it. So I'm going to give you a homework assignment. Good, we're not too far over time here. This is your homework assignment because tomorrow I'm going to give you another action task, but this is like prep work. I want you to actually experience what it feels like to take the action, and a lot of you are going to want to overthink the crap out of this. Stop. That's just your brain leaving what feels cozy and going into what feels unknown and what feels scary. Right? And so you're going to have all kinds of resistance, normal. Okay, this is your preparation for maximum visibility. Remember I told you social media ain't going to show anything to anybody unless you're out there socializing. Connect with 30 to 50 people. Go through your qualities and skills list. Comb back through your followers, comb through your Facebook, and yeah, it's going to take time. It's going to take time because prospecting takes time. Prospecting done well takes time. Have you ever seen someone pan for gold? We did that this summer with my kids. We're in Colorado, and we went to this mine, and they were saying like, oh, just one little thing of like one pan, and you could sit with it for 45 minutes and still pull out nuggets. But all of us were just like, we put the pan in, we shake it up, and we throw it out, not knowing like how many gold nuggets we probably threw out. Right? So connecting with 30 to 50 people. Connecting, that just means be a real human, like, comment, ask about something, comment on one of their posts. And if they haven't posted in a year, probably not ideal. They're not ideal, right? So comment with something meaningful, personal. You can ask a question. Did you enjoy your summer? What are your kids doing? How's that sport coming along? What's going on? Engage. Do not be a creeper in their inbox. Don't show up out of nowhere and be like, hey, where they're going to be like, hey. I want you to see someone's inbox as like their house, and you going and just dropping a little pitch or a comment in their inbox is like walking through their front door and being like, hey, I'm in your house. Like, that's how it feels to them. Okay. So just connect, right? We're boosting the algorithm. We're boosting your visibility. So don't creep. And then tomorrow, we are going to be talking about what happens when people come to you and how to actually frame that and set that up for success. We have a live prize today. Remember, comment, not here, don't comment here. Comment in the pinned post that we put up in the group with your takeaway to be entered in today's giveaway. We're going to turn off the comments. Congrats to yesterday's winners, but as soon as this is done, go comment in that to enter in for a prize. Tomorrow is all about mentorship, because someone's going to come to you and you're still going to have to overcome some objections and how to set them up for success. Tomorrow, same time, it's going to be a blast. Here's my last encouragement to you, just with the homework I gave you. Like, don't you be messaging everyone on your team being like, how are you doing this? I want you to be willing to sit in the uncomfortable feeling of feeling a little awkward, of feeling like you might not know what you're doing. You have to learn to move through that resistance yourself without expecting somebody to hold your hand and do it for you. This is your time to step up as a business owner and be like, all right, I'm going to do it. Even though I feel scared, even if I feel nervous, I'm going to do it. So we're going to be positioning your platform